I think that maybe associating with it, with asking somebody else for money can be, I think it just causes unnecessary tension. And when you think about it, you can ask for money every day. For gasoline, for coffee.
It just goes back to our limiting beliefs. You know, there's so much of you're scared to death. You're scared of that no.
Hello and welcome to Deals with Heels, where female entrepreneurs thrive. I'm Debra.
And I'm Christina.
And we are your hosts.
Welcome, welcome.
Welcome. Today's our 19th episode.
Yes.
And we're in the time key still, talking about all things having to do with time in our businesses. And today is about sales timing and timetables.
This is going to be interesting because you know about your sales, but you don't equate the two.
If you haven't had formal sales training where they break down the sales call and how the whole process works, then you can definitely get it from some great sales books. Don't get me wrong, but it's nice to have somebody kind of walk through it if you have never done it, and if there'll be a part potentially that you haven't really focused on, and that'll be an area you'll be able to really turn some sales around.
Yes.
So I would get a pen and paper because we're going to have some good info in this episode about that. And we have a sponsor for this episode. Our sponsor is R&B Trees. Trees.
Veteran owned,
They are veteran owned, and the R in R&B Trees is Robin, and she is definitely a badass female entrepreneur.
Yes.
I have no doubt that R&B Trees would not be the company that it is today without her steady hand on that business side of things. I think it's a great example of how there's a lot more to running a successful business, a successful tree business, than just doing tree work.
Oh, yeah.
And you can be a great arborist, but if you don't know how to sell and you don't know how to manage the finances and the equipment and all of those things and the insurance that is involved. So anyway, check out our sponsor, R&B Trees, rbtree.net. You will find information about them on our website and
our show notes.
All right. Thank you. So talking about the sales timing.
Oh, yeah. We've had a couple of conversations on this.
We have. And I do all kinds of marketing, and in corporate world, I did a whole bunch, but they were always for companies that were very high sales driven. So I think of everything as sales. I would even argue that PR is sales, just in a softer voice. There's a reason I'm writing that press release, because I want someone to read it and learn about my company or whatever's going on. So to me, it's still about sales, and your image and all of those things are important. But as it breaks down into sales with bringing you money,
right,
whether that's selling your product or your services, when you set and you think
selling yourself, so many people are content, you know what I mean?
That's true. The content, the affiliate, all of those things, it's the same no matter what that product or service is.
Yes.
You're going to, just like when you are targeting a customer, you're going to be targeting that prospect in your sales.
Yeah.
So you're talking about the sales, timing of a sale. First thing you really do when you're sitting down thinking about, okay, I need to get some sales, you're thinking about prospects. Who are out there that I could prospectively sell to? Who are my potential customers? And where can I find them? Where can I generate them from? And so that portion, there's a lot of different ways to do that. There's a lot of great self-help stuff out there that you can get some training from and do it. I love to start working warm market. There's a great brainstorming skill that you can do with paper and pencil. And you start, and you may need a lot. I can do a few hundred. So you're going to write fast, but you're going to start thinking with the alphabet, and with an A, write every person that you know whose name starts with an A, first name or last name, and just keep writing. And then when you can, really take your time and write every one that you can think of. Then move on and go all the way through the alphabet. Every single one of those people that you know well enough to remember their name is someone, not that you can harass to buy from you. That's not what we're going to tell you to do. Everybody dislikes that. No, those are people that could potentially give you a customer, somebody that you can help. Your product or service is always going to help solve something for someone. That's why they're going to buy it. So what is that it solves? So now when you're contacting those hundreds of people that you know, you're going to ask them, explain to them what you're doing and how it can help someone. Do you know anyone that might help?
Yes. And doing this, really sitting down, like she said, and having that pen to paper, because it's also helping you re-meet that person. It might have been 4, 5, 7, 9 years down the road, but it's, oh, I do know so-and-so. And then you look in your phone and lo and behold, you have that number. And sometimes it was nice because there was people in there that I hadn't talked to in years. And never once did I ask for a sell. Some of them are Texas, Arkansas, things like that. But it's just building that connection again. What is something that me, and it's all about that power of a referral partner.
It is, and you have online coaching. Mm-hmm. So you could get somebody that way, but it is. Once you start really talking and building that network, you don't know who they have, where they have people living, because again, you're not looking to get a customer. You're not looking to sell them something. You're looking to talk to them about what you're doing and find out what they're doing. Give them a customer if you can.
Yeah.
And find out what they're doing, but also see if there's somebody that you could potentially help. And you're doing something that you find valuable. So,
and that's really where that sales was able to come in, because it was being that authentic self, and when you are passionate about what you are doing, it comes naturally,
It does. So once you've prospected and now you've gotten some prospects and you're making sales calls and you're giving your presentation, so you have that whole sales call consultation that you go through where you really, that's where you're selling. That's where you're touting the benefits of your product or your service and how it can help them. Because this is your prospect that you got from your prospecting.
Yes. Two different things.
It is. But you finally, it pays off. I promise you, you will get customers from working your warm market like this. People won't just be mean to you because you know why? They know how scary it is to call people even when you know them. Mm-hmm. It is. And the thing that they're the most scared of is that you're going to try to sell them something. So if you commit that I'm not going to try to sell them anything, I'm going to see if they happen to know someone that you might be able to help.
Yes.
That's a whole nother way to do it. And it softens that sale and you're still selling and you're still going to get customers and you'll be able to help people because that's what your product or service does. So that sales call, that's where, you get in there. And if you're me, that I'm talking about my creative that I do and my strategy and selling myself, that's the sales call. And I think that's the part we're all pretty good at.
We are. If we love what we do, and that's really where it should come from, the heart,
Definitely. That's the part we're all pretty good at.
Yes.
And we all enjoy sitting down and talking with them and explaining to them what we do. And it's just finding them, the prospecting. People don't like to do that typically. And although I've known some people that were fantastic prospectors, they were terrible closers. So that's the other part. The timing of the sale is you can set and give that whole presentation. And when you're done, they might say, okay, let's do it. And they might not. And so closing the sale. I can remember when I first started in marketing and sales that I went to college. I didn't go through sales training specifically until I was older. And that whole closing and different closing techniques, and I couldn't understand what they were talking about. I was doing it. So when someone finally said ask for the sale, I was like, oh yeah, I'm asking for the business. But I've met a lot of people that were really successful that never stopped and said, so can I schedule this for next week?
Yeah. And
that's all they're talking about. When they say closing it, they mean booking it.
Yeah.
Not so they, it's like an old school closing the deal because it would sign on the dotted line, like you go to closing.
Right, right.
It's the same difference when you close on a house, when you buy property, that closing. So it's used in the same way, but much more loosely in every sales environment I've ever been involved in. Close the deal.
Close the deal. And I mean, even at like your BNI, y'all close the deal,
Yes.
So
thank you for closed business.
Yes.
I don't know why, but I think that it being the same thing as buying the biggest piece of investment you've ever probably done is such an intimidating thing. Mm-hmm. I think that maybe associating with it, with asking somebody else for money can be, I think it just causes unnecessary tension. And when you think about it, you can ask for money every day. For gasoline, for coffee.
It just goes back to our limiting beliefs. There's so much of you're scared to death. You're scared of that no.
Oh, that's true. That limiting.
Yes. And we're so used to being told no, that it just it's bad to, things like that.
Yes, overcompensating. Mm-hmm. And so it is kind of a brain game to not let the negativity affect you. Your brain will try to move to more positive things sometimes at the beginning. It really likes what it's used to. So it'll eventually get used to all that rejection that you get from doing a lot of, if you're doing door knocking, if you're doing a lot of cold calling, which is going up and talking to people without knowing who they are, and maybe not having an appointment, just knocking or cold calling. Well, I do business to business. So walking into a business, asking if the manager's in, cold calling. And sometimes people can be mean to you, and definitely in residential they can. And in telemarketing, they can. And I've run my fair share of telemarketing, and that sometimes can be a challenge.
Oh, yeah. We all do it,
There's a certain amount of telemarketing that's involved, but if you're calling people or texting people in your warm market, texting, everybody wants to text. Unless you'll have some people that will prefer a telephone call, and you need to note them and assume everyone else's text. Yes. Because you'll get much better response by texting, and keep it short and concise and to the point. And just think about how you would like to receive it and do it like that, because most people don't want to have to, they frankly won't read something that's really long. There's a certain amount of people that will, but they'll stop reading. They'll think it's more spam, and it's not spam. It's their friend Christina texting them Merry Christmas
Yes.
and letting her know that
I'm so grateful. And I am. And I'm the one that wishes text messaging never existed. I love the phone calls, but now all the calls is spam. But yes, I'm the one that's going to go into so read my text messages. They're not spam.
they're not spam. They're very uplifting. They're very uplifting. I love your, Christina sends out these motivational text messages. And if you're on her list, then you're lucky.
Well, yes.
You could probably email her at Christina@dealswithheels.com and get on her list.
Yes, you can definitely do that.
So Christina keeps us all zen. I meditate every day, but, the Scorpio in me is private. So Christina helps me to stay on track too. So, well, that was a lot of information about the sales call and
the timing of all of that as well.
It definitely is. Do we have time to talk about timetables? That's a little bit different. It's a quick goal kind of setting thing.
I feel the timetable is something that a lot of people that aren't understanding,
Yes, it's more big picture, and it's different than goal setting, but it's really similar. Timetabling is when you have that plan put together, your marketing plan. Now you're going to look at when, based on that sales and marketing plan, when am I going to need to add employees? The timetable of that, so that you're operationally prepared for the business you're going to generate. I've met with people before that were ready to spend a lot of money on advertising, but I didn't think that they were operationally ready to handle the business that was going to come to them. And that would be a poor marketing decision because the PR and the bad reviews that you risk getting. So you want to temper it. And the timetable of that is really important. So as you put those sales goals together, once all of that's put together, now you timetable. How does that affect my business operationally? Am I going to need to get a different bookkeeper? Am I going to need to add payroll service because I'm going to have more employees and I can't write that many payroll things myself? And how does that affect the timetables of my business operationally, as opposed to just your sales goals in there? And that will affect your operating budget as well. So that timing's really important, and it will empower you so much.
And it does help because it's one of those that it's all about knowing your information. Nobody should know your business better than you. But if you are skipping all of these steps, this is what Mindy was talking about, is those 10 things, or whatnot of each segment of your business. And this is such a crucial one.
Right. And as the business owner, you may be like R&B Trees. And if you're the tree person there, which I do know him too, so knowledgeable about trees. They're a great tree company. They really, they take really great care of their customers. They have 5-star review. That's not easy to maintain. But if the tree portion, that's just such a small portion of running the business altogether. So, but you put that in, it's important, but what equipment are you going to need? What's the timetable of you having to get a bigger chipper?
Yep.
Because now you've got the personnel that you need. What's the timetable of you having to hire another certified arborist, which is going to be a significant expense? Those are timetables that go with sales goals.
Yes.
And so keeping those timetables, it's okay for them to be separate, and you don't have to think of them when you're setting that sales goal. Your sales goals are based on how much can you sell, how much marketing are you going to do, all of those things. And we'll talk about those later. But for your timetable, that's going to be set in there, and it's important to keep it separate and then add it in and make adjustments for it when you get it in there. So don't be scared when you're putting those sales goals together that you haven't thought of it, because that's like a final step that you do before you're done.
Well, and I love that, because from like an operations background, it makes perfect sense, but sometimes you don't think of it that way, of looking at everything from
I have
a
a question,
picture.
because I know where you were operationally. How many times did the marketing come to you before they ever consulted operationally what effect it was going to have on you?
Many.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I'm going to say at least 75% of the time. A lot of time, especially in corporate America, that gets lost. And that's why I wanted to bring it up, because it's so important. And when I was there on the marketing side of it, I tried hard to make sure that the right people knew it was coming, how much we were going to be spending, that I was expecting it to be big. And let me tell you, sometimes you don't want to say that, because if it's not big, then it feels like you're eating a shit sandwich.
Mm-hmm.
But it's more important that they are prepared and that they're not overwhelmed and unprepared. Like they don't have the product available. They don't have whatever operationally.
They haven't got the employees. They haven't,
they can't, or their website isn't prepared for that much traffic because they didn't get prepared for those types of things, not just human things, but your website, your e-commerce. When does all of that need to be upgraded based on when your sales are coming through? Your CRM, when are you going to need to be able, how much should you budget? Because those things increase sometimes based on how many employees you have clocking in, how many, depending on which one you're using. So those are things that are timetables within that budget. And so I wanted to include those.
It's very good advice. So I'm very grateful in the sense that we are doing this, because I am one of these people that I really didn't know of the connections that needed to happen. So being able to scratch that surface. So of course, then you take it to wherever you need to go and run with it. However,
well, you have a unique perspective, because you were in that regional management position over multiple stores, and even you were blindsided by marketing. It wasn't like you were working as a cashier in one of the places.
Yeah,
you were in a management position, and even you found out about it the day it launched, or the day before it launched, or 2 days before it launched. So that's how much better it can make you successful if all of that's cohesive and you see it and you share it with the people that you're working with, and they can see that vision.
All about that plan.
It can change your business, including it. Think about how much better you'd have been off if that in the business you worked for. So you have a great perspective on that.
Well, thank you.
All right. Well, our favorite segment.
Yes, this is how we met.
It is. We bonded over high heels, and we both wear them almost every day. Christina sometimes can. She has a foot injury, but we don't discriminate against other people's heels. And so this segment is titled, Show Us Your Deals. And what we would do is, when we had something great happen to us, Christina and I have both been on a similar spiritual self-healing journey that anyone that's been on it knows that it can be really painful. And so we found it very uplifting when something good happened. We both try to focus on good things. We would send each other a photograph of the heel we were wearing when it happened. And I know that I still look forward to seeing not just yours, but I'm so excited when I see that they have been sent in by somebody, and some kind of badass shoes sometimes.
Oh, yes, most definitely. And I just love the meaning behind it. It's all about us empowering each other. Like, I mean, when I would see that come through, it would be like, oh, what did she get today? Because we are starting our businesses. We were, like trying to find our own way in life. And that's what we wanted to help other women with. And that's what this segment is all about.
It is women supporting women, us supporting women. So we encourage you to participate, and you can submit your heel, no matter what kind of a heel it is. Along with whatever you've done that makes you feel proud. Sometimes for us, it was about actually closing a deal. Sometimes it was about overcoming an obstacle or learning a lesson. Oh. I know I sent that a couple times.
So, manifestations.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So we encourage you to send that in. You can email it to us at dealswithheels.com. You can post it to social media and tag us, or use the hashtag DealsWithHeels. And we will choose one every episode, every week. And that person will be our Queen of the Week. So, Christina, who is our Queen of the Week this week?
Our Queen of the Week is Miss Tammy with Soul Paintings. Tammy was on a few episodes ago.
She was a guest, and she has come such a long way in that business. It's so impressive.
I just radiate off her. Like, she is such a good human.
And such a cool person. Yes. And so much fun. She posted a bunch of raw video before from, she had her own videographer here when we recorded that episode. And she's just super fun. And so I'm so proud of her and her accomplishments and really coming into her own in...
I want to do on next season or something, have all of the past and kind of see where their year took them, because this is a brand new, brand, so especially our first season of guests, kind of keep up with them. So
I definitely want to. So Tammy is our Queen of the Week, and you can find more information about her soul art at www.tammyconoverart.com. You can find a link to that in our show notes. Congratulations, Tammy. And ladies, please show us your deals. All right, Miss Christina, how can we hold ourselves accountable to prospecting when we're in the midst of doing the work after we've closed a sale, for example? That's such a tough thing.
Well, and here is the big thing. Like I said last episode, it's setting this heart the time, making sure, okay, I'm setting aside this many hours for prospecting, this many hours for working in my business, this many, because what happens is we go sell, and then we get them all, and then we can't fulfill the job. So it's all about making sure you are holding yourself accountable with that.
To your time.
Mm-hmm. And being self-disciplined. You're going to hear the no, and it's one of those to really be on time and making sure you're holding yourself accountable when it comes to that.
It is. And I sometimes I just put something as Debra time rather than label it. That means like don't schedule an appointment because you've got stuff to do. Mm-hmm. And I am really trying to be more intentional with what that time is. So, and being specific about which client's time it is, because I'm never going to sacrifice a client's time. But I think even prospecting time, it's so important to be specific. And so I might put prospecting texts or like what I'm planning on doing during that prospecting time, because I will think about what kind of prospecting I'm doing. See, people, I am by far not perfect. I have ADHD and I have lots of things going on and lots of things to distract me, and I make creative. So I make ads and content, and sometimes it's easy to go down a content rabbit hole looking at somebody else's cool content, which there's a lot of it out there, obviously. And so I struggle as well. That's why I always ask Christina for tips, because I need them.
Well, and that's the biggest thing. We're both working on our calendars very, because we, as Joey said in a previous, we need to manage our own time and making sure that we are doing those time blocks and stuff, because that's how we're going to make sure we are juggling our eggs.
Yes, and I was doing the time blocks. I just wasn't honoring them because they were my time. And, well, I can work late, or I can...
Boundaries, baby girl.
Well, I'm...
You're doing so much better.
I'm labeling in a way that is much more difficult for me to choose to schedule something over that. And it's really just a reminder of what is important about that time, that there's something that's very important to me. Client time's very important to me. Working on client projects are important to me. I'm competitive. I want my campaigns to be successful. But
just remember, if you don't take care of yourself,
this is true. And so
how can you make sure that you are being the most successful? So I will leave you with that.
And I'm very appreciative of the accountability. So on the timetable, you just have to be committed to doing it. You really do want to know how much money you're going to have to spend on employees that month. It's not as difficult or as intimidating as it sounds. And we will be having some added content on subscription level.
Oh, yes.
Within the next month or so. And that we'll be able to help with that too. So, and there's a lot of stuff out there that if people look into it, they can. But even big companies don't consider that timetable all the time. And so it's really easy to do it. You just have to sit and write it down.
Yes. And it's just like you said, you have to sit
and do it.
Yep.
And you can just write it down. And I promise you, if you handed it to your accountant, they could put it all in to a spreadsheet for you if you wanted them to. So don't let that intimidate you. There's a way to get your typing done. That's what that is. Write it out.
Yes.
Get your typing done. You can find any college student probably to put that together for you pretty inexpensively too. So don't be intimidated by that, because that's just editing and typing.
Couldn't have said it more. All right. Well, this is episode 19.
Yes, lots of technical information, but important. And I think it'll help people. The prospecting thing is so important, and going through doing the bookends that people don't really want to do, the prospecting and the closing.
And you are exactly, but it's such a technical thing. It's what rounds your business. You can't do all of A and expect all B, C, and D to get done.
It's that's it. There's steps. It's just steps. Just follow the steps and make sure you do it with every single one. And the follow-up after, we really didn't talk about that, but part of that sales timing, following up after you have attempted to close. If you didn't close them, following up again. And, one more.
Yeah.
One more college try. Whatever false objection they gave you for not buying from you the first time, get through it.
All right.
Well, and it also it's always about the money.
Well, and also about the touch points, they're consistent in their work. They're still around. Some people just want to see how long.
Don't ever let go of that prospect. No, they're in your tickler file. You're contacting them back. They may be once every month, once every 2 months. I still have somebody that I am on his list. I get a text message from him every couple months. He worked for me 20 years ago.
Yep.
And he still is out there working and hustling, and I get that from him. He is committed to that form of prospecting, and he's very successful. He's still doing it for this long for one reason.
There you go.
It works.
All right, guys.
All right. Well, thank you to our sponsor, R&B Trees.
Trees.
Trees. They do a great job. Please check out their website. You can find it in the show notes and links from our website to it. They are storm damage specialists. So if you need information about any damage that you've had pretty much in any kind of a storm, they are experienced. They have worked lots of storms, not just locally, but in other areas. I'm on the board of their nonprofit, Share and Care Relief. They do expensive tree work for people that cannot afford it. And sometimes that is storm work too. So we're really proud of that. And of course, always taking donations. You can find the link to R&B's nonprofit Share and Care Relief in our show notes as well.
Well, yes. And thank you so much. I'm them too. Sometimes you need to in the business, to level each other out there.
Hey, if you have somebody, if you need to delegate something, it will be money well spent. Shop it around. Make sure it's what's right for you. But if you struggle with bookkeeping, just reach out, get some help. You can get free help in a lot of places that will show you how to do it. So reach out for those aspects. Don't avoid it. Don't put blinders on.
Nope. But thank you again, R&B Trees. And this is it.
So,
ladies, don't forget,
show us your deals. And we did it.